Hi everybody, this is Anna Shumkor, Enhanced Awareness Mentor with the Enhances Awareness Program, and I'm with a really good friend of mine, a new really good friend called Dusty. Hi Dusty, welcome.
Thank you.
And Dusty and I, we see each other over at the Stokehouse Brewery and Coffee Shop all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
Like regular. So we've been talking, and I was sharing with him how we're really working on the statement this week that I take responsibility for my world and I don't blame others, and that really sits in our quadrant of spiritual values. Are we having a consciousness where we can really bring ourselves to the world through some real core values that are purposeful and fulfilling, or are we following some other path? And the thing is, when we think we're being responsible, the easiest way to know is that there's a peacefulness with it. When responsibility is a burden, and we can feel that in our body, and we can feel a restriction in our mind and in our heart, then we're on some other track that is coming from our past and from fears. When we're able to take responsibility, there's a peacefulness with it. And I know that that's been a journey for you too, and it's also something that you mentor in a way. So talk a little bit first about what you're actually doing in terms of your role in the world.
Yeah. So
Purposeful role in the world.
right now I'm in an organization that is all about discipling and bringing young people up and raising them up in a new way from what they're used to, and it's all about just loving them and encouraging them wherever they're at, meeting them where they're at, and understanding where they're at, and just loving them through it all. And through that, a lot of change happens. If you learn to love somebody where they're at, then eventually, you'll start to see differences in them. You'll start to see a change in them, and they'll start to have a value on their life and for other people's lives as well.
And you're talking that it's very much focused with young men.
For
can be,
yes,
for you.
For me, it's based on, or it's focused on young men. But there's also girls in our organizations that focus on young ladies.
Yeah, and we were talking about the fact that young men don't have a lot of mentors these days, and there's not that rite of passage of going from childhood into being a young man. How does that look? There is a passage, but often it's through the course of drugs, sometimes violence, racing cars, a lot of things that actually distract from, or actually create any form of happiness. And that's a road that you were on there for a while.
Yeah.
You know that road.
Yes, I do.
Before you woke up.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So before I came here, I was very lost. I was very confused with who I was and who I was created to be and what my purpose was in life. And my life was focused on drugs and alcohol and bringing other people along with that. And I was an influencer, but I was influencing people in the worst way possible, selling drugs and just that whole lifestyle. That was me for a while. And now I'm in a community that has influenced me and has grown me and just really raised me up into the person I've been created to be. And now my influence is for the better. I influence people to be loving and to encourage others. And
And you take real responsibility for that, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, real responsibility for that. And one of the things that you were saying is that to be responsible for your world and then being purposeful in your world, you also have to be teachable.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that needed to happen was I needed to forgive myself of the things that I did, and through that, a lot of things released. But after that, I still had pride that I needed to take care of, and I think a lot of my growth, and I'm still growing. I'm not exactly where I need to be. There's always more, but a lot of it was being humble and just losing pride and dropping my pride and even surrendering my rights to what I think I deserved and all these things. And I think that's where the growth comes as well. Is if you stop being so prideful and start being more humble and teachable, then you're actually willing to open your heart to growing and to learning how to love even more. Yeah.
And now you're able to mentor that
Yeah.
to others.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that great? So we talk about that's the perception that we have in the world. So when pride is in front of us, and the pride before a fall.
Yeah.
When pride is in front of us, we cannot see anything outside of ourselves,
Yeah,
and we're
that's right.
actually living a very limited existence, and it's very difficult to be responsible for how we really choose to see our world, because we're separate from ourselves, and we couldn't even entertain that there could be something more to this world, or a higher influence to us than ourselves. And it really takes that fall, doesn't it, which you've had, I've had, and many other people. We need to almost go through that point of suffering to be able to come through into a place where we go, okay, right, I'm ready, I'm teachable, and then become more purposeful in life. And what I love most, Dusty, is you're a young man that is talking about love. Not fast cars, and it's not saying you can't have that, but your first thing is about connection and love. Yeah. So would you say that you're someone who's not blaming others?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I do my best to.
Yeah. So that's it. When you want to take responsibility, the first thing is that you have to be willing to be teachable, to be willing to put what you know behind you, and be open to new possibilities, and change that filter that you have on that you are seeing the world through, and even entertain the fact that there is another way, which you've been able to talk about from your past to how you're living your present now. So thank you so much, Dusty, for sharing. And I know that what you're doing in the world and what NATO is doing in the world is making a big difference to people, and especially to our young men. And we thank you.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you back here again very soon with some more wonderful, purposeful guests. In the meantime, this is Anna Shumkle signing out, and have a great day. Bye.